Um, I worked as a journalist for about 5.5 years, and during that period, journalism helped me to it nurtured my creativity, and I used to meet new people every day, write news stories, and there was a lot that was happening in my life that time, and there was like constantly there was an uncertainty, and journalists thrive on that uncertainty. They don't know one day from the other, and they understand that they have to still be ahead of the readers. So all the things that I learned in my years as a journalist made me deviate towards this thing that, you know, maybe I could do a bit more with myself, and I started writing a chicklet novel. It was about a girl who sort of acts like an agony aunt for everybody else around her, her friends and all. I wrote about 50 pages, then thought maybe I'll not be able to carry the idea across 400 pages. I gave it up, and then I went to London, and I never thought about writing again until 2008. The skills that I had learned and the stuff that I had learned as a journalist came in very handy when I started my writing my novel, and this time it was about recession. And I was seeing a lot around me. People were losing jobs, there were bankruptcies, foreclosures, and that sort of inspired me to write not a sad story, a happy, entertaining story. And that's what led me to write the Recession Groom, which is my first novel. Recession per se is a very dry theme, and I was quite aware that it's not something very happy to talk about, and I knew that if I have to write a story about an Indian boy who's chasing his dreams in the backdrop of global recession, there has got to be something else in the background to sort of tie up the story, or to give it an entertaining sort of a twist. And I thought, what better than marriages, because marriages have, and especially the institution of arranged marriage, it always has piqued the curiosity of readers, and I thought, well, that could be something that I could use for my book. And so I tied the theme of recession with arranged marriages and sort of gave it such a blend and a mix that I'm happy at the end of the day it's come out so well. And at least that was my attempt, and I'm so happy that the readers are appreciative of it. I have been asked this question before. That would have been the easiest thing to do for me, to write the story of another woman who's going through recession and wanting to find a perfect partner, would have been the ideal thing. I wanted to step out of my comfort zone because I want to be writing novels, and going forward I want to be writing many novels. And I think one of the preliminary things for a writer is that you've got to step out of your comfort zone and see how you can experiment with your writing, your characters, and the plot that you have. Unfortunately, what happens is many writers, they're in a sort of a warp, and where you just write what you've experienced, and so you end up writing college romances, and mostly they have borrowed instances from your own life. I did not want to do that, and there was a conscious attempt to understand a male psychology. And please try and understand, I'm a woman. I have no idea how men think in certain situations. So writing the book meant interviewing a lot of my friends. I used to go to their houses and just ask them, guys, you know what would you do if you were in this situation, or what would you do if you were in that situation? And which was very exciting for me, and I think I just loved writing about Parashuraman Joshi in that way. There's a lot of research, a lot of excitement, and also I gave him a certain character, which I see that many authors do not really do that. So one journalist pointed out Vani, who ended up giving him just character and nothing else, because he's such a he respects women, and to such an extent, like, a woman could be standing in front of him and he's most likely not to notice her. So it was very exciting to write about him, to sort of etch out his character and give him details and all that. very exciting to step out of my comfort zone. I would never bother about recession right now. I'm not interested. Wow, that's a question. That's a question that brings in a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings. Yes, I'm a first-time author, and the journey so far has been very exciting. It's been a steep learning curve for me. So let me tell you something. The interesting bits and the bits which are not very interesting. The process of writing is a very lonely process. Writers are not very interactive. They sort of zone out when they're writing books, and I was the same. So for a couple of years, like it took me 2.5 years to write this novel, and I zoned out. I did not have many friends. I would go out for coffee with myself. I'd go out for movies with myself. I'd just enjoy myself and come back to my room and have a Red Bull and write my book, because I was working full time and I didn't have time for interactions. I didn't have time for a social life. I knew I was doing something and I wanted to see my novel published. It took me about 2.5 years because I wrote multiple drafts and multiple revisions, and it's very challenging because if you cannot push forth that phase, then you will never be able to achieve anything. So discipline really is important, perseverance is very important, hard work is very important, and I understood all these things early on. However, what was the toughest for me was to understand the publishing process. And when I was looking for a publisher, I applied to publishers and literary agents across the world. You name it and I would have applied to that literary agency. However, my novel was published by an Indian. My publishers are based in Mumbai, and I'm very glad that happened. There's a process. You cannot just send them out a novel. You have to design, you have to write a cover letter, there has to be a synopsis. There's a certain structure in which publishers and literary agents, they want your submission to be. So understanding all that, getting my head around all that was tough. And then to see my novel in print after 15 months was another very challenging thing, because generally authors want instant sort of they're like, okay, we've signed the contract and tomorrow we want to see our book in print, whereas publishers, they have their schedules and they take about 15 months to 18 months for it takes normally that much time for them to print your novel. The most challenging, and nothing can come close to that, is promotion and marketing of the book, and that's where JustBooks is coming. When I was writing, I was zoned out, I was not interacting, I did not have friends, and the moment my book was to come out, my publisher sent me an advisory saying, you know, Vani, you need to interact with people and you need to create a good social media profile to sell your book. And I said, but I'm a very closed person, I'm an introvert, I am shy, I am reserved, this does not come naturally to me. Nothing doing. So today I have a profile on Goodreads, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest. I am on every visible forum that you can think of. And of course, I also collaborated with JustBooks for the promotion of the book. But it's been like a steep learning curve for me just to understand how things work and how to promote your book, because if you overdo it, your readers and your followers are going to just run away or they're going to get upset. So you have to do it the right way, and that's where my MBA came in very handy, because I have my MBA degree from London and I use a lot of my skills, marketing skills for that. You do not see me at all and then you see me, yes. I'm a Punjabi, and the first thing that came to my mind when I started writing the book was, I am not going to write a sad story. I'm not going to write a depressive novel. I have seen authors who've written about recession and they are grim stories like people lost jobs and all that. True to my Punjabi roots, they are very happy-go-lucky sort of people, very enthusiastic, very flamboyant, very over-the-top sort of people, and I wanted to write something very entertaining. So that's my bit in the novel. I think if anybody would have written this, I don't know how they might have written it, and I'm so glad at the end of the day the newspapers that have reviewed it have found it very entertaining, and so and then thank God when Hindu reviewed it, they called it a fun read. When Tribune reviewed it, they called it an entertaining read. When New Indian Express reviewed it, they called it like very likable characters, very interesting read. So a lot of newspapers that have reviewed my book have found the book to be very entertaining. Very glad to hear that. But no, I'm not a part of any character in the book. I did not. I didn't want myself to be present anywhere. I based my characters on a lot of people whom I know from real life. Like I pick up quirks from a nosy aunt or a bossy sister or some stupid uncle, you know, and I just put all of them in one character and write the whole story. Yeah. It's important. At least for me as a reader, it's very important. And I do not say that every novel has a happy ending. There are novels like The Fault in Our Stars, which does not have a very happy ending. Entirely depends how an author is able to carry that forward. And sometimes you might just end up alienating the readers and they might end. So in case of my novel, it's an uncharacteristic ending that I have, and many of my readers have come back to me and told me, Vani, what did you think? Like, what were you thinking when you were writing that? And certainly I was doing my best to just give it the perfect sort of ending, you know, finish, and I ended up doing something like uncharacteristic, but then it's given me fodder for my second novel, and that's given me fodder for my third novel, because the second is almost done, and then I have the third one which I am still to begin. Yeah. I would like to say that there are many because Indian publishing industry has today has many more opportunities for authors, and you can see that the market is flooded with a lot of new writing. So I'm very happy to see this, because everybody has a story inside of him or her, and I'm very happy to see that people are writing much more today than they were a couple of years ago. My advice to new writers is that first of all, you need to read a lot, because until you read, you're not going to be able to benchmark your own work. And also new reading helps you, gives you a lot of ideas for your own writing. It keeps you abreast with whatever other the trends going on in the markets. For instance, I mean, when vampire fiction started coming after the Twilight series, a lot of authors started writing vampire fiction. Okay, when Harry Potter became famous and the novels became famous, a lot of authors started writing children's fantasy fiction. When this 50 Shades of Grey started, so internationally there was a trend that a lot of authors were giving a lot of erotica sort of fiction. So you will not come to know until you are reading very well. Then the second thing that you need to do is you need to have a discipline in your life. You would have to cut down on birthdays and celebrations and social life and take out about 1 or 2 hours just for writing, in case you're writing part-time. I write full-time, so I have a schedule like from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. I just write. I just get up for lunch and I have massive doses of tea every day. So I cannot write without cups of tea. The next thing is that work on your skill, because you have to keep polishing it. You cannot expect your sentences to come perfect the first time you write them. You have to keep polishing your work, keep doing revisions and all, and the more you do it, the better it's going to go. So it needs a lot of hard work, perseverance, and a lot of patience to see. If you want to be a published author, many people write blogs. Well, then you don't need to be that. You don't need to spend that much time, and you could just focus on what you want to do, post, and then come out with it. I'm a blogger as well. I don't spend too much time doing that. I'm writing my next book. I was so excited after I finished writing my first book that I gave it a month, and that was just because I was in the US and I was traveling to India, and the moment I landed here, I started working on my second novel. I spent about 2-3 months just researching for the second one, which is a sequel to the first book. It's almost like 250 pages done, but I've been so busy promoting my first book that I have not been able to get back to it. And of course, I'm not telling you the name because that will kill the suspense of the first book. But there's a third one as well that wraps up the series. So this has come out to be a 3-part series. Happy reading. Read as much as you can. Read across genre. Spend at least an hour reading. I know there are so many distractions today. There's TV and there's phone and there's apps, and I know that other authors have also emphasized this, that reading habits in children are coming down. Adults are also not reading, and there are you've got to be reading because that's what is going to expand your mind at the end of the day. And it's always good. It's do some pleasure reading. Pick up any book that you like and just read. And write if you can. Yes. My message to JustBooks is thank you so much. It's been a great campaign. I've really enjoyed every bit of it. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have been able to reach so many readers. And I have really. I'm glad that I associated with you guys to promote my book, and I'm so happy to see the results. And I'm here in Bangalore because of you guys. Because I'm from Chandigarh, I wouldn't have come here had it not been for JustBooks. I wouldn't have gone to Bombay if it was not for you guys. So very happy. That describes me, Emma. It's my passion. Jane Austen. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and the whole Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. Fun, entertainment, promotion.